Since I first learned of the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, I've been thinking a lot about where Zelda games might be headed next, and how far they've already come. It was a safe bet to think that we would one day see an open-world Zelda game, but did anyone expect Breath of the Wild with that approach to game design, or the remake of Link's Awakening with that art style? And as fun as it is to speculate what the next Zelda game will be, it's always been notoriously difficult. But 40 years down the line? Wow, that's a tough one. Ask someone living in 1986 what video games will be like in the future, and he would likely have gotten a lot wrong. But ask him about the future of the Legend of Zelda series, and he would be almost certainly completely wrong. Let's draw a line through each of the mainline Zelda games from the original through to Ocarina of Time. We could have assumed by following this path that its sequels would have been more realistic, higher polygon counts, more intricate textures in a larger, more realized world. But that is not what we ended up with.
Twilight Princess was all those things.
Eventually, but the line between Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time was all over the place.
What's all this line business? He sounds like he's done a couple of lines himself.
What do you mean?
Ugh, you're so naive.
What we actually got was, at first, Majora's Mask, a direct sequel with heavily reused assets set in a strange parallel world, or whatever it was. And then we got something even more out of left field with the Wind Waker. Throw games like the Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, and the Oracle games into the mix, and it's safe to say any attempt to predict Zelda's long-term future after Ocarina of Time would have been, well, as complicated as the Zelda timeline itself. So right now, at our current place in time, it's tempting to get excited for things like generative AI when thinking of the future of Zelda games, especially since it's taken such significant strides forward. Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa has stated Nintendo is open to utilizing these technological developments, but also raises concerns over their implementation. The truth is, no one knows just how far these systems will go, how ingrained they could be in the industry, especially 40 years down the line.
What do we think a games console will look like in 40 years? Probably a chip injected directly into your brain. Or maybe you're plumbed into a machine that does all your bodily functions for you. You know, tube up the arse, etc. It even wipes tears away when it hears you begging for death.
Alright, wow! Where's that dystopian nightmare come from?
Oh, I'm just following the line.
Imagine the inhabitants of Hyrule having fully realized lives, reacting to everything Link does like real human beings, with no 2-day-night cycles ever the same. This is what generative AI advancements could bring us. Wander into someone's house and start breaking pots like old-school Zelda. Well, now NPCs no longer simply stand by and watch you do it. They defend their homes, they call for help, they throw Link out onto the street where he belongs. But it doesn't end there. They now remember what you did, and later that night in the local tavern, milk bar, they gather to discuss measures they can take to protect themselves thereafter. But if you bring the villagers supplies, defeat monsters and protect them, they celebrate Link as a hero and welcome him whenever he returns. The possibilities are dizzying and we're only just getting started. But all this is only our current expectation of the future. And as we've learned, history is rarely a straight line, especially where Nintendo is concerned.
Wow. Imagine someone like Tingle with a real mind. I hope he's sewn into that skimpy green onesie, because if it comes with a zip he can reach, it's game over.
Just you to go there.
I'm not going there.
Oh, you know what I mean. AI is a bit of a sore subject, but used correctly, it's going to be amazing to see what game designers are going to build in the future.
Trends change, and 40 years is a long time. Maybe traditionally scripted gaming experiences will maintain their popularity, not in spite of their limitations, but because of them, an antithesis to the oversaturation of AI and procedural generation that's almost inevitable. When the 3D revolution was in full swing in the late 90s, who could have predicted then that 25 years later we'd still be seeing sprite-based pixel graphics? Now, it's an art style that stands tall in its own right, a skill we very much appreciate, and not the result of any limitation of hardware. Humans have always applied a value to the effort expelled while creating. For example, taking a photograph, no matter how beautiful and well constructed it may be, will, in some sense, almost always fire a different response when compared to painted artworks, even when the outcome looks much the same. We weigh up the sacrifice and skill needed to produce both mediums and conjure an idea of their worth. How many hours, how much practice, how much sacrifice and passion went into what we're seeing? How much did someone give of themselves so that we may receive?
Sometimes receiving can be painful.
Hey, shush! Go away! He's sitting astride here.
Yeah.
We do this with video games too. When we see a large, sprawling landscape with unbelievably beautiful art direction, fun mechanics, and fully realized creative ideas, we are in awe at the sheer volume of work it must have taken to produce. AI runs the risk of severing this human connection. While the results it can conjure will no doubt be vast and overwhelming, it's destined to feel hollow. No matter how convincing or in some way superior the imitation may be.
We just love the human touch.
I'm gonna sidestep the obvious joke you just set up and suggest all this is bollocks.
Go on.
Take what he said about a photo versus a painting. There's one thing he's forgetting, the actual subject itself. Take a nice view, for example. You could take a photo, you could draw a picture. Both will pale in comparison to the landscape that inspired them in the first place. And that doesn't need humans.
But that's the point, Hal. That nice view took hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years to make. AI could make something look similar in seconds. But it doesn't carry anywhere near the same weight as a real thing. Authenticity is the key, whether created by nature or humans.
I wish I'd just taken the obvious joke now.
Zelda games have always been saturated with universally relatable themes and subtexts. Their continued popularity in some sense lies in their ability to tap into the human psyche. Exploring universal human experiences through the fantastical lens of Hyrule not only makes the games memorable, but also allows for a profound emotional and psychological connection between the player and the narrative. We are Link, and we discover Hyrule through his eyes, a hero destined to save a kingdom, bravely standing against tyranny and evil. Themes so rooted in our evolution that they are beyond trend, beyond time itself. While technological advancements will inevitably change the Zelda series, as they always have, as long as Nintendo remains true to the universal Zelda themes such as bravery, companionship, sadness, sacrifice, isolation, loss, morality, and gratitude, it will always hold a place in people's hearts, no matter where the future takes us. 40 years from now, some of you watching this will no longer be around. And maybe I won't be here either. Maybe Nintendo doesn't exist anymore. Maybe gaming will have changed into something we'd barely even recognize today. But if the Zelda series is still going, it will be because of the timeless qualities that hold humanity together and the creative people that keep them alive. A shared history that anchors us to what came before and what will unite us in the future. As gaming continues on into forever, Zelda games will always have a link to the past.
Oh, very clever, you pretentious
Hey!
Oh, Heavy gets on my nerves. Listen to him. Timeless themes that hold humanity together is a video game. You give money to a massive multinational corporation because they got good at releasing your monkey brain chemicals, and they charge you $70 a pop for the privilege. What about spending over $500 on a new black box every 3 years? Does that hold humanity together as well? It certainly splits your wallet apart. Where does the family-sized bag of Doritos and the vitamin D deficiency come into all this, eh? Maybe AI should take over content creation too. At least it wouldn't talk such If you enjoyed this episode of Biffa and the Sprites, there's more here. Hit like, subscribe, usual nonsense. I'm off. Bye.